Erev Tov, everyone. Erev Tov. It is Monday night. It is 8 p.m. here on the east side of the United States, here on the diaspora. You sure it's 8 p.m.? Yeah, I know. Daylight savings time, right? Yep. Got dark early. Yes, it did get dark early today, yes. And, but anyway, it is 8 p.m. here on the east side of the United States, here in the diaspora. This is the House of Seven Beggars, therefore it must be Zeyde Story Corner. That's right, Zeyde Story Corner. And tonight we continue on with the silly story, the stories from the silly world of Helm. And so it's windy out there. Yes, it is. It is very windy out there. We can actually hear the wind. I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up on the broadcast or not, because we have a windscreen on our microphone. But it is very windy out here, and cold too. Yeah, cold. We got our first snowfall last night. Didn't amount to much, but we still got some snow. So we are, typical Michigan. So here we go. Winter is here. Yeah, so it is. Let's see who we have in the chat room. We have Colleen, we have Veronica, and we have Donald. And we do have a few people watching in the background, such as Ralph. Lightly attended. Yes, lightly attended. Yeah, so far. Marilyn has just joined us, and we'll try and keep up with the chat room as we go along this evening. So it's good to have you all here. And can I get on my camera? Yes. Let's get you on your camera. And there we are. Now I'm on my camera. Okay, let's see if we can get this around here. There we go. Okay, so we are going to continue with the stories from Helm. So this first story tonight is called The Medicine. Okay. Once upon a time, in the silly village of Helm, the shoemaker was sitting in the village square discussing the problems of the day. After a short time, Velvel stood up and stretched and declared, "My friends, it was good talking to you about the problems of the day, but it is time I went home to take my medicine." The others turned and asked, "Are you ill?" Velvel smiled uneasily and exclaimed, "Not really, but I seem to have a cough that I cannot get rid of. I went to the doctor the other day, and he prescribed a medicine for me. He said that if I took this medicine every day for a month, the cough would disappear. No, so I am taking it. Thank you for all your concern, but now I must return home to take my medicine." As Velvel started walking down the road, everyone noticed he was shaking from side to side. One of the group turned to the others and exclaimed, "Isn't it strange? Here he tells us that he only has a little cough, and as he walks, he shakes violently from side to side. I think we should go to the wisest man in Helm, our old sage, to see what he might know about Velvel's illness." So the delegation marched to the home of the old sage. and explained what had transpired. "We are so concerned for our dear friend Velvel. Maybe you can talk to his wife and find out if there is anything we can do to help him during this trying period. He shakes so violently when he walks." The old sage agreed to visit the home of Velvel. The following day, the sage arrived at Velvel's home. Velvel was sitting in the kitchen at the breakfast table. "Good morning, old sage. What an honor to have you visit us," Velvel said. "I have come to find out if you need any help. Your friends have told me you are taking a medicine for a cough. Yet they saw you shaking violently as you walk away. They were very concerned for your health." "I am deeply flattered by their concern," responded Velvel. "But the truth is, it is nothing more than a cough that the doctor is helping me get rid of." "Then what is the violent shaking they observed as you walked away?" the old sage asked. "Oh, that?" replied Velvel. "That is nothing at all. I am merely following the instructions on the medicine bottle." "Following the instructions on your medicine bottle?" gasped the old sage. "What has the medicine got to do with your shaking?" "Here," exclaimed Velvel, "this is my medicine bottle, and if you will read the label attached to the bottle, you will see that it says that I should take the medicine 3 times a day. Then, in big letters, it says, 'Shake well before using.'" Ah! Oh, my goodness. Okay. Kelsey Lynn has joined us, and Simon has joined us. Good to have you here. Marshall is here. Okay, so it's starting to fill up. Okay. Shake well before using. My goodness. I might try that one day. What do you think, huh? Good idea? Yeah, maybe. We shall see. It gets some attention anyway. Okay. This story is called The Miracle of Space. And not like outer space either. No, this is space. Okay. Once upon a time, a man came to the old sage of Helm and pleaded, "Oh, dear sage, I have such a terrible problem. I live in a very small house. In fact, it isn't really a house. It is barely a room with a roof on top. In this one room, my wife, my 10 children, and I live. There is hardly space to breathe. And now we receive a letter from my mother-in-law that she will be coming to stay with us in a few weeks. There is hardly enough room for all of us, let alone for my mother-in-law. Can you help me?" The old sage was in deep contemplation. Then his eyes began to twinkle. "My good man," he began, "I think I have the solution to your problem. But you must not question my advice. Is that understood?" Of course, I promise, sighed the bewildered young man. The old sage began. Return home and take your cow, horse, and all your chickens into your house. After they have lived with you, your wife, and your 10 children for 1 week, you may return to me and ask any question you wish. The man grew pale. He wanted to ask, how in the world could I bring a cow, a horse, and all my chickens into the house with my wife, me, and my 10 children? But he remembered he could not ask any questions. The week passed by, grueling, and the man soon returned. "Oh, dear sage," he shouted, "you created an impossible task for me to perform, but I did as you said. I brought my cow, horse, and all my chickens into the house to live with my wife and me and our 10 children. Now, a week has passed, and I return to you for further advice." The old sage spoke slowly. "Now, go home and bring the cow, horse, and the chickens back into the barn, and return to me at the end of the week." The young man returned home and did as the sage directed. At the end of the week he returned to the sage and declared, all smiles, "Indeed, this is a miracle. The minute I returned the cow, horse, and chickens to the barn, I discovered so much more room for myself, my wife, and my 10 children. In fact, there is so much space in my house now that I have written to my mother-in-law and suggest she bring her children to stay with us too." And so it was in the world of Helm. From that day on, when everyone would complain that they did not have enough room in their house, they would go out to the barn, bring in their cow, horse, and chickens. They would live with them for 1 week and then remove them. Lo and behold, from that time on a miracle would take place, and they would have more room than they could ever imagine. Imagine that! Hey, Lord. Hey, okay. My goodness. The horse and the cow and the chickens. Can you imagine doing that? No, I can't imagine doing that. Well, the smell would be terrible, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would be, yeah. Okay, so now we move on to our next story. The mirror. Once upon a time, in the little village of Helm, Yonkel the tailor had just returned from the big city of Minsk. Bet you didn't see that one coming, eh? Okay. While there, he saw a full-length mirror for the first time in his life. He was flabbergasted by it. That's a big word, flabbergasted. Yeah, that is. That's a $1.25 word there. Yes, it is. Okay. Indeed, this will make a wonderful gift for my brother and his wife, who are celebrating their 3rd anniversary. So, he decided to purchase the mirror for his brother, Motel, and his wife, Hannah. When they arrived back in Helm, he took the mirror to his brother's house and attached it to the inside part of the bedroom closet door while both of them were out of the house. He thought to himself, how pleased they would be with this surprise. After the mirror was attached, he left a note on the kitchen table, which he wrote, I have a surprise for you in the bedroom closet. When Hannah came home, she saw the note and ran to the closet. As she opened the door, she looked in the mirror, and seeing her reflection, she shrieked, Gewalt! She quickly closed the door and thought to herself, the brother-in-law is some prankster. He went to Minsk and brought back a total stranger. What is this woman doing in my closet? When Mothel returned from the fields, Hannah ran to him. What kind of tricks is your brother playing on me? Look in the closet, there is a woman there. Mothel ran to the closet, opened it, and he too saw his own reflection. He turned to Hannah and screamed, a woman? No! There is a man in the closet. He quickly closed the door and made sure it was shut tight. But I saw a woman, she shouted. It was a man, he shouted back. A woman! A man! Why are we arguing? Mothel sighed. Let's go to the old sage of Helm and have him look in the closet, and he will tell us the truth. We want you to look in the closet, Mothel pleaded with the old sage. My brother went to Minsk and left a note saying he brought us back a gift for our anniversary. Now, Hannah said there is a woman hiding in the closet. I say it's a young man. Please, look and tell us who is right. The old sage went to the home and approached the closet. He opened the door and, seeing his own reflection, turned to both of them and said, You're both wrong. Your brother brought back a wonderful gift, an old wise man who can give you counsel at such times as this. Both thanked the old sage as he left, but both were still puzzled. So as soon as the front door closed, they ran to the closet. If the old sage says he saw a wise old man in the closet, he must be right. Apparently, he knows him. Therefore, wouldn't it be nice if we invited the old man to have dinner with us this evening? Mothel exclaimed. They approached the closet together, slowly opening the door. They took one look inside, gasped in shock, and quickly closed the door. How can this be? Asked Mothel. A few moments ago, the old sage said he saw a wise old man in the closet. Now there is a married couple like us in there. How could this be? We must go back to the old sage and find out about this mystery. Hannah was perplexed too. You know, she exclaimed. Let's go back to the sage. They ran to the sage's house and told him that there was no old man in the closet. The old sage went back to the house and looked in the closet once more, sure enough, he saw his reflection again. He turned to Mother and Hannah and exclaimed, "Apparently, the woman Hannah saw in the closet was engaged to the man whom Mother found in the closet. When I came, the wise old man who was probably called to marry them had just arrived. If you'll notice, he also had his coat on. Now, this is probably a very poor soul who found a door on the other side of this closet and decided to use your closet as his study. No doubt, in my mind, he performed the marriage while you ran to my house. But the gentleman that he is, since my friend decided to wait until I'd arrived to say goodbye. Since the closet is now his study, I order that from this day on, no one is to open the closet and to infringe on his holy purpose in life." Of course, Uncle Muddle's brothers is still wondering why Muddle and Hannah have never thanked him for the unusual gift, and why they nailed their closet doors shut. Okay. That was an interesting story, huh? Okay. This one is called The Morning Service. It was the custom in the silly world of Helm for the shamus, the man who took care of the shul, to wake all the members of the community for the morning prayer service. It's what the Baal Shem Tov used to do. Yeah, that's true. Baal Shem Tov used to do that. I fixed your tie for you. Thank you very much. Okay, now it's gone again. Okay, there. Better? Better. Okay. So anyway, he waked the community for the morning prayer service. Rain or shine, the old-timer would rise early in the morning, go to each house, and rattle the shutters on their windows to wake each family. He was always on time and never missed a morning. As he walked, he would shout, "Time to get up for the Lord's service! Time to get up!" As the years passed, the old shamus began to develop arthritis and had to walk with a cane. As he got older, the elders of the community felt he would soon be unable to continue walking. Through the community, rattling the shutters each morning. But if our shamus cannot do the job, who would? One of the elders thought, "Let's go to the old sage, the wisest man in Helm, and seek his advice." So they went to the old sage and told him, "Our shamus is getting old, and he will soon be unable to walk the village, rattling the shutters each morning to wake us for our services. What can we do? He is such a good man. How can we help him?" Oh, that's nice. They don't want to just fire him. They want to help him. That's very good thing to do, yeah. The sage listened intensely and gave a broad smile as he explained a plan whereby their problems would be solved. Each returned to his home and carried out the plan. The very next morning, as they all gathered for the morning service, the old sage stood by the side of the aging shamus and explained, "So, you see, you will not be forgotten even in your old age. The plan was a simple one. All I did was to tell each villager to return to his home and remove the shutters from his window. They were then to bring the shutters to your house and place them in your living room. So, now, when you rise in the morning, you will not have to walk through the entire village to rattle the shutters. All you will have to do is go into the next room and rattle the shutters of each man's house without ever setting foot outside." Everyone cheered. "What brilliance!" Yeah, what brilliance, huh? Yeah. Okay. Brilliant, huh? Oh, my goodness. Okay, now, I did not write this story. Don't complain to me, okay? So, here we go. This story is called The Mother-in-Law. You ready? Okay, here we go. Once upon a time, in the little village of Helm, Hannah and Rivka were looking for suitable young men for their daughters. Since all of the eligible young men in Helm were already spoken for, they decided to ask a sage from a nearby village to send along 2 eligible young men who were considering marriage. On the day when the 2 men were to arrive, both Hannah and Rivka stood at the entrance to the town, awaiting the little cart that would bring the 2 suitors. As the noon sun rose high in the heavens, the little cart pulled up, but there was only one young man on the wagon. "What happened to the other?" they asked. The young man smiled meekly and said that his friend got married shortly before and that there was no other eligible boys in the village. "Indeed a problem," Rivka sighed. "But since you are closer in age to my daughter, you should be introduced to her." Hannah snorted. "Wait a moment. You can't make that decision. How do you know I do not want the man for my daughter?" In just a few seconds, a major argument ensued. Finally, the wagon driver exclaimed, "This is a decision the sage of Helm will have to make." So they all marched over to the home of the sage of Helm. They told him the problem, and the old sage began to meditate. Finally he stood up and announced, "As the great King Solomon acted when he had to decide the fate of the baby to see who the real mother was, so will I act to decide who the real mother-in-law should be." Both women smiled as the sage announced, "Therefore, since both of you claim him for your daughters, let it be that I will cut the young man in half. I will give one half to Hannah and one half to Rivka. In that way, each will have part of a young man for their daughter. Rivka turned in alarm and shouted, "No, no, you cannot do that to this young man. Better you give him to Hannah." Hannah turned to the sage and sneered, "No, you are absolutely right, old sage. You must cut the young man in half, since that will satisfy both of us." The old sage smiled warmly and said, "So, Hannah gets the boy for her daughter, since she speaks like a true mother-in-law." Don't hit me, don't hit me, don't write letters. I did not write this story. Please don't write me. Okay. That was a quick one. Yeah, that was, yeah. I thought I would have to duck on that one. Well, if certain people were here, then you probably would have had to. Yeah, we are lucky tonight, eh? Yeah, yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are very lucky tonight. Okay, so we move on quickly to a break. We are late. Yeah. We're just a little over our break time. Yeah, so let us take out a break now, and then when we return, we can continue on with the next story about the new math. Okay, so let us take out a break. We'll be back in 6. Don't go away.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
It's intermission time, folks, so hurry, hurry, hurry. Step right over to our refreshment center for the most extravagant array of refreshment goodies ever assembled under one roof. Enjoy breathtaking, mouth-watering goodies, everything from a snack to a delicious full meal. At our refreshment center, you'll find a large variety of goodies to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, or your sweet tooth. So hurry, hurry, hurry. Visit our refreshment center now. The show starts in 5 minutes. The show starts in 4 minutes. show starts in 3 minutes. The show starts in 2 minutes. The show starts in 1 minute. And now, on with the show.
And we are back. Okay. So we'll continue on with our stories now. This story is called The New Math. Okay. Many people have wondered in recent years where the new math came from. Now it can be told. It originated in the village of Helm. Oh, not on purpose, of course, but quite by accident. It all began with a kindly old woman who opened a restaurant in the village of Helm. It was a good restaurant, and the woman who ran it was indeed proud. One day, a man from another community was passing through and decided to go into the restaurant for his evening meal. He ordered a bowl of soup and some tea. Indeed, it was a simple meal, but filling enough for the stranger. As he prepared to leave, he asked for his bill. The woman smiled and said, let me see now. For the soup, you must be charged 7 coins. And for the tea, you must be charged 7 coins. Now let me see. 2 times 7 is 11. She turned to the stranger and said, "Sir, you owe me 11 coins." The honest stranger smiled and corrected the lady. "Madam, I am only a visitor in your town, but I would not want to cheat an honest person. 2 times 7 is not 11. The old woman smiled back knowingly and said, "Oh, you are wrong, my friend. 2 times 7 is indeed 11. Can you tell me how you figured that out?" the stranger asked. "Oh, that is easy," she exclaimed. "You see, I am a widow and had 4 children. I married a widower who also had 4 children. After we were married, we had 3 children of our own. So I then had 7 children, and he too had 7 children. But together we had 11 children. So you can easily see 2 sets of 7 come out to 11. Oh, that's brilliant math work, isn't it? Yes, I'm sure the New Common Math would be very proud of that. You betcha it would. Okay, the stranger smiled, and no matter what he could say, he could not convince the lady that she was wrong. So, if you ever travel through the village of Helm, and you are asked, "How much is 2 times 7? Of course, you wouldn't want to offend them, so you would say 11. But here in America, 2 times 7 is still 14. Even in the new math. Okay. So, now you know where common math comes from now. Common Core. Whatever they call it. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever they call it. Okay. Our next story is called The New Pupils. In the little village of Helm, there was an old couple, Ruchi and Shmolia. Ruchi was 92, and Shmolia was 95. Neither of them had ever gone to school. One day, the school teacher, who taught in the school just across the street from where Shlomia and Ruchi lived, stopped in. "I heard," exclaimed the teacher, "that neither of you, Ruchi, nor you, Shlomoya, have ever gone to school. Is that true?" "Yes," answered Shlomoya, "it is true. Neither of us ever had the time to get an education." "Well, wouldn't you like to go to school? I know both of you are well on in years, but at least if you came to school, you would be able to say you went to school," the teacher exclaimed. Shlomia talked it over with Ruchi, and they agreed, and the following day they would join the children and go to school. In the morning, they got up and went across the street. They sat in the first grade classroom until lunchtime. When the bell sounded, they began to walk across the street to their house. Suddenly, Shmolia discovered a wallet with many bills in it. Look, Rookie, Shlomolia exclaimed. Look at all this money. Hurry, let's get home so we can count it. They rushed into the house, and he took out the money. There were hundreds of rubles in the wallet. Rookie, now we can have whatever we want. We can go to the big city and do the things we never were able to do in Helm. Rookie said, That's not right. We must find the person who lost the wallet and give back the money. No, shouted Shlomoya. Absolutely not. Just then, the doorbell rang, and in walked a police officer. Did either of you find a wallet in the street? He asked. Shlomo exclaimed, Absolutely not. Rookie, on the other hand, shouted, Yes, he did. He found it. She's crazy, officer, exclaimed Shlomo. I tell you, she's crazy. The officer turned to Rookie and asked, Well, tell me how he found it. Rookie took a deep breath and said, Well, we were coming home from learning in the first grade in school. The officer looked at Shlomolia and exclaimed, Never mind, you're right. She's crazy. Ah, what do you think of that, huh? Okay. So Simcha has joined us. Good to have you with us. Okay, this story is called The New School. Once upon a time, in the silly world of Helm, it was decided that the old schoolhouse was not big enough to house all the children. Indeed, this is a problem, said one of the wise men. We must find a solution. Our children must have adequate space in which to learn. Our old schoolhouse was built many years ago when we were but a small village. But now, thanks to the gifts of the Lord, we have grown. So, what is the solution? One of the women cried out to the wisest sage in Helm. The old-timer stroked his beard and went into a deep thought. Suddenly his eyes lit up and he smiled. I have found a solution to our problem. We will build a second school, bigger and more modern than the first. They all smiled and applauded this magnificent decision. But wait, one person said. If we build a new modern school, some of the children in our community might draw pictures on the walls. They might even break some of the new things that we have in the new school. How will we solve this problem? The old sage of Helm went back into deep contemplation. He thought and thought. Then he smiled. I have the solution. We will indeed build the most beautiful and most modern schoolhouse money can buy. But we will not build a door on the new schoolhouse. Therefore, none of these bad children will be able to enter the building to mark up the walls. Everyone looked concerned. But how will that make room for our children if they cannot enter the school? One of the women asked. Oh, that is simple, smiled the wisest man in Helm. This will be a rather special school which only children who do not want to go to school will attend. You see, we have many children who would rather not go to school. So, if we build this new modern building with all the latest facilities, we can open the school to all those who are presently refusing to go. These children will come every day to the schoolhouse that has no doors. They will arrive at the school and find they cannot enter. They will be happy because they will have fulfilled their obligation of going to school, yet they will not have to enter, for there will be no entrance. This will ease the overcrowding in our old school. And at the same time, we will be able to show everyone we have a school with the latest and most modern equipment. Everyone marveled at the old sage's wisdom. And so, from that day on, in the village of Helm, they had two schools, one old one and one modern one. The old one was used every day for children who wanted to go to school, and the new one, without doors, was used for children who did not want to go to school, but had to go to school. Brilliant, huh? Brilliant thinking, huh? Okay. Such wisdom. Ah! My goodness, if half our politicians had that kind of smarts, well, never mind. Okay. This story is called The New School Teacher. In the little village of Helm, a place known for the foolish souls who lived there, Mendel had just returned from the big city. He had gone to Minsk to learn how to become a school teacher. Before turning over the responsibility of educating the children of Helm, the townspeople felt Mendel should be tested by the old sage of Helm. "And what did you learn in the big city university?" the old sage asked. Mendel beamed. "I learned many things," he exclaimed. "I learned all the things we need to know to survive in today's world. I do not question the learning you got in Helm, but I wonder about the secular knowledge they gave you in the big city," the old sage commented. "Oh," exclaimed Mendel, "don't worry. I know everything. I even sold my encyclopedia." The old sage was impressed, but still hesitated. "All right, let me test you. Suppose two thieves climbed down a chimney to rob a house. When they reached the bottom, one of them had dirt all over his face. Now, my dear Mendel," the old sage asked, "which one of the thieves will have to wash his face? The one who had dirt on it, or the one who did not?" Mendel beamed. "That's easy. The one who will have to wash his face is the one who got dirt on it." The old sage put his hands on his head as if in pain and shouted, "Wrong! if that's what they taught you in the big university, first of all, the one with the dirty face would look at the one with the clean face and assume that his face was clean. However, the one with the clean face would look at the one with the dirty face and assume his face was dirty. Thus, you see, the one with the clean face would wash his face, because seeing the other fellow with dirt on his face, he would think his face was dirty. Mendel placed both hands on his head in amazement and wondered, I see, what brilliance! The old sage sighed once more. No, you don't see. If they really taught you properly in the big city, you would have realized that if two men climbed down a dirty chimney, both would obviously have dirty faces. So, if you ever want to become a school teacher in Helm, you already have one of the questions they might ask you on the test. Remember it. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, I think this is where we're going to stop tonight. This next story is a little bit longer, so we save it for next week. No cliffhangers. Sorry, Donald, no cliffhangers this week. Okay. So, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I hope you will return to be with us on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern for the Torah study in depth with Rabbi A. Don't forget, on Friday is the Kabbalat and Mariv Shabbat service at 8 p.m. And of course, Shachrit and Musaf on Shabbat morning at 10 a.m. So until the next time, and of course, next Monday, I will be back, God willing, and we continue on with these stories from Helm. Until the next time, my dear friends, we say, Laila Tov.